Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and welcome to another session of Not Perfect Zen. This is my contact information, and I ask that if you post any of the tiles from watching my videos that you use at BBL_tangles so that I get a notice that you have posted and I can look at your beautiful art. Okay, so I want to start by showing you this book that I have that contains reticula and fragments. So what is a reticula? Reticulum is the plural for the word reticulum, and it is a fine network or net-like structure. So basically, it's a grid, and within that grid, we put fragments. And a fragment is a small tangle drawn in the sections of reticula. Okay? This is an enjoyable book that was done at a Zen Again conference, and certified Zentangle teachers took different fragments and filled reticula with those fragments. Let me give you an idea of some of the these are reticula, okay? And these are from the book. One of the best sources, if you're interested, is always the Zentangle primer. You can find lots of different fragments and reticula in there to play with. And like I said, I'm a little flustered today, but I want to show you some fun things that I have done over the years. One of the first ways that I was introduced to fragments and reticula was by my Zentangle teacher, Victoria McMillen, and she had these little cubes. I believe they're used for teaching math in primary schools. And so I have a set of 4 in each color. I have orange, green, blue, and red. And what we did, and it was work, was to print these out and try to make sure they were the right size, and then put them onto these cubes to play with. So let's move this one up. So for instance, I could take this fragment and look at it and see how it would be to have it like that. If I were to turn them all to the center, how would that look? Okay, so it kind of looks like that. And I know that not everybody is going to have these cubes. I just happened to find them and pull them out so that I could show you. You flip these around and see the difference in that one. I'm going to push these to the side because I have printed some of these out just on cardstock. And I do plan to put that piece of cardstock image on my community page so that you can print it out and play with it if you'd like. So, isn't that cool? So you can see by taking a fragment, and if you wanted to just draw a few of them and do like this, and I have done that during one of the Inktober videos. I tried to decide how to flip things around, and so I took a pattern and made 4 squares, and that's what I did. If I flip this one, you can get an idea of how it would look as a ribbon. I think I showed you first having those point to the center. This is how it would look if it was in a different type of grid. So The ones that I printed are this one. This is one of my favorites. Okay. And excuse me if I go a little fast today. We're not expecting terrible weather, but we will have a lot of rain and thunder. I have storm windows, so I don't have to get out and try to board my windows anymore. Not that we're going to get it that bad here, but I have boarded up in the past and I don't want to do it today. Okay, so here's some different ones. What if I put that fragment there? And here. I think these are just kind of fun to play with. Of course, I need more, don't I? Like that. Okay, so that gives you an idea. And then in the center, I could put this one, maybe. Okay, so that's just if you're trying to design something or you want to see how fragments would work together, this is one way to do it. Okay, so let me scoot these apart. And I want to show you, this is a book from Project Pack 10, okay, from Zentangle, and this came out in July of 2020. And all of these books are always available, not books, but project packs. And in the center of this is a group of different fragments. And this came blank, okay? And then we were just told to fill it in with some of our favorite fragments. And what also came with that project pack was this 20-sided dice, or die, I never know whether to say it. And so what you could do is pick a reticulum, such as this one, okay, and then roll the dice. So I got a 4, and if I'm gonna do a square, then I would use this. Okay, and this book is filled with different patterns that we did, but I'm focusing on the fragments, and it was just a really fun project. And I used this, the die and the reticulum, to do some examples for you. So get this out of the way. This is a spiral reticulum with orbs inside. This one belongs here, and I ended up putting the colors just so you could see how these rows went. There we go, like this. Okay, and then I just kind of randomly put this one. Randomly put that pattern in there. And then there's this one. Okay. And I did roll the dice, and these are the patterns that came up on this one. And I used triangle patterns, triangle fragments, as you can see along here. Okay. And then this one, I started out picking random with the dice, and then I decided what I wanted to do. Okay. It's just a lot of fun to play with these fragments. And another thing that you can do with a fragment is to use it as a string, okay? And this is fragment G5. And they're named because in the primer they are in a grid, and so it's which row and column, and that's how that works. Okay, so this is a fragment as reticulum. And then from the Art Raffle app, Any Oaken had one that was called Grid String, okay? And this would be a really cool way also to use fragments of different sizes. All right. Zooming right along. Okay. The other thing I want to show you, and I hear thunder coming. So again, I'm trying to go a little bit fast. This is called a Zen button. And I'm not sure if I have a video out there that's available. If not, I can eventually do this. But this is a Zen button, and it is filled with fragments. Okay, isn't that cool? I think it's such a fun thing to play with. And I am going to show you a tile, and we're going to put fragments in here, and that's this one is Reticulum C3. I don't know if you can read that. So I'm going to be using a Zentangle 3.5 inch tile. Get these out of the way. A micron PN, which means plastic nib. This is a tortillon, also known as a blending tool, and I keep this clip in there so that I can keep the tip kind of sharp. You will need a sharpened pencil. This is just a number 2 pencil, and it's short because we don't need an eraser, and it helps to keep it in your hand easily for shading. And I keep a kneaded eraser nearby just in case I need it. Okay, so we're going to try this pattern. And we'll start with our 4 corner dots. And then we're going to add lines for our border. Okay, and now we're going to add this. You can do this with pencil first if you'd like. I am going to do mine straight. Okay, and I'm just doing some little columns. Trying to get them about the same width. And doing it in pencil will allow me to adjust as needed. Okay, so I think that's good. I'm not worried about how it's centered. And I'm going to go ahead now with my number 2 pen. Oh my gosh, my PN pen. So Sorry if my brain isn't on track. I started this video and then I just lost all my light to a really dark thundercloud that went over. And I don't have good lighting if I don't have the light coming through my window. So I turned everything off and started again. I have storm windows and I have a backup generator because we had a freeze a couple of years ago that we lost power for several days. And so I try to make my home a safe haven for the family if we need it. So that's why I have the storm windows and a power generator. Plus, like I say, I'm just too old to be out there trying to put boards over my windows. Okay, so I'm going to, like I say, do this. So let's do a square. And then next to that, just a bump. And by the way, this is called, the way it's going to look when we're finished is called Romanancy. And I will put a link to the newsletter where Maria explains. Nancy is the name of one of her employees who was in Italy, and she sent Maria a photograph from the inside of maybe a church or something that she was visiting, and it had columns which were beautifully decorated. And I encourage you to look at the link to understand where this came from. But it's a really neat effect when you do it. Okay. So this is going to be our grid. Oh dear, sorry. Need to stop talking for a minute. No mistakes, so we will find a way to work that into our pattern. Okay. I can hear the thunder. I was supposed to have lunch with my daughter today, but that's not happening now. Okay, so I'm looking for one of the patterns that I wanted to use. Ah, okay, this one. Okay, so I'm going to use this pattern and we're going to put it in a row. Okay, and the easiest way I found to do this pattern was to put two big dots or orbs. Okay, and then this one is going to come around to there, and this one comes around this way, and then we darken this corner. Okay, so now we're going to do it on this one. This one's going to come around this way. We're not going to see that corner, but we'll go ahead and put one here. If this gets kind of slow for you, please use the YouTube controls to speed it up. Go fast forward, whatever is best for you. I do not speed up my videos. It makes me very anxious if I'm trying to watch someone tangle and it's really sped up. To me, Zentangle is very relaxing, and when a video is going really fast, it gives the impression that you should be drawing quickly. And I don't want to do that. And I don't expect you to draw quickly either. We want to relax and enjoy drawing beautiful tiles. Okay, one more. And then fill in the corner. Okay. And over here on this one, we would have a line going like this. And I think I've shown this before, but let me show again. If you're wondering how a pattern would look, and yours has kind of gone off the page, our grid would be going kind of like this, right? Oh, actually it went up. And then our pattern would be coming around like that, okay? And then the other one would be here. We would be seeing part of it there, okay? And then this comes around and that one comes around. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Okay. On this one, I'm going to put an aura inside of each. Okay, and then on this side also. Okay, and this is just giving you ideas. Okay, and inside of this one, I'm going to put the pattern doodah, okay? And that's just to show you that you can use any Zentangle pattern as a fragment. Okay. I do remember when this first came out that Maria said that your pen should always go in this direction, however way it's easiest for you. And in other words, instead of doing doodah like this, up, down, we're always drawing in the same direction. And I do find that my lines look better when I do that. Okay, so that's what I mean by that. Okay. And with doodah, we're trying to keep the area at the top and bottom about the same distance from the edge. So as we're going up this curve, we still do the same thing, okay? And I remember Maria saying that this reminded her of a zipper. And then there's an old movie that had a song, Zippity Doodah. So that's how they got the name Doodah. I love finding out the history of some of these. Okay, so in this one, I'm going to decide what to do so we can fix this. Okay, we'll do this one. So we're going to do an X. Okay, and then inside each of these, we put an aura and an orb. So you may have heard me say this before, if you can't fix it, feature it. So this was not necessarily, okay, I'm not going to worry about that. Not necessarily the pattern I meant to put, but it's okay. No mistakes. And in the end, it's not going to matter. Okay, I'm going to do the squares first. Okay, so an aura inside and the little orb. It helps me if I'll turn my tile. And as you can see, my lines are not perfect. But when you finish your tile, it's not going to matter. Okay? More than anything, I try to show you maybe some new patterns and ideas for you to put on your tile. And then I invite you to just take it to the next level. Add color. You could have yours go across the tile this way instead of straight up and down. Okay, so for this one, because it's round, I'm going to go ahead and make these appear to be sort of rounded. When we're finished, is going to look like columns, hopefully. I have not tried this pattern like that. Okay, this one's going to just slightly curve and come down. And this, when we put the shading on there, will be a huge effect. Like I said, I encourage you to look at the newsletter, and I will link it in the bottom. Below each video, there's always a link that says more with a ... If you click on that, then I try to put links to step outs and other information. As far as the Zentangle primer and the book with fragments and reticula, you can get those at zentangle.com. Okay, this side would have one coming that way and that way. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, the next pattern that I want to put in is this one. Okay, and I just do a curve that comes down to that corner. Same thing that curves down to that corner. For me, it's easier if I turn my tile. Okay. And it gives you a really cool center. Okay, again, I'm going to do the squares first. Kind of gets me thinking right before I get to these that are curved. But again, there's no mistakes. And these patterns are just ideas. If yours changes a little bit, it's okay. All right, so here, I'm going to go up a little bit and curve. Okay. Because that's rounded, it's going to look a little different. Okay. This one will kind of go like that. And again, like what I was saying here, coming out of this corner, it's going to come out a little bit and then come back in. Okay, and that's all we're really going to see on that one. Just turn your tile to keep your hand comfortable. Okay, one more. Okay. And this one, I'm going to put, I don't have a number for this fragment, and I don't think I have it shown over here, but it's just a, looks like a simple flower. We're going to put a small orb, and then just petals that come out to each corner. And you can put a little flick of your pen there if you'd like. And again, these on the curve are not going to look exactly like the ones that are square. I love any patterns that look botanical. To me, this is kind of botanical. My petals are not perfect, but I enjoy drawing them anyway. Okay. Okay, on this side, if this line continued, okay, I would have started my petal about right there. And this one would come down like this. You won't see that. Okay, I hope that makes sense, what I did over there. You don't have to do that, of course, just showing you. Down here in this section, I'm just going to put lines. And if you look at the Zentangle newsletter that talks about Romanancy, Maria uses these straight lines a lot. It's a good filler. Okay, up here at the top, I'm going to add printemps. just going to take my time bringing this around. You can call it printemps, or it's just a spiral. Sorry, that's my dog growling at the neighbors. Hey. My dog's name is Coco, and I named her after the movie Coco because I really loved that movie. I think that movie was still fairly new when I got her, and I was going through a list of possible dog names, and that one came up and said, yep, that's it. Okay, so here I'm just going to put the edge of some spirals. Okay, so the next thing is to add our shading. And we don't talk about light source, okay, so much in Zentangle, but with this Romanancy, what's important is if I had like a column here, a round column, you can see that this side would be, the side is very bright, okay, and right along here, it's pretty dark. That's the effect we're going to give on our columns. And we're going to pick one side. I want this side to be the shaded side. So I'm going to put my pencil down against that edge, and I'm going to give it a heavy amount of graphite. Almost halfway up this rounded column, okay, and that would be here on this one. Okay, it's okay if you go over a little bit. We're going to put a little bit of shading on that flat side too, but we want the most on this side. So let's move to this one. You can go in and individually shade and work on each one of these patterns. I'm not going to do that today. Okay, here's our last rounded column. Okay. And let's go ahead and put just a little bit on each of these. Not as much, but we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of graphite on these also. Okay. Now we're going to soften this. And we just want it really soft here along the center. So we're not going to pull it across very much, but we're just going to soften that edge. Should have told you to take a picture first so you can see the difference. Okay. Okay, and then with the graphite that's left on my tortillon, I'm just going to soften next to it. Isn't that cool? The effect that that gives. So now it looks like, well, the light's coming this way. Okay, causing a shadow. A dark shadow on our rounded columns. And then a light shadow next to it. And I just kind of play with it. Okay. And the other thing that I would encourage you to do after you've added all that graphite is to redefine this line. So this will make a difference. This should be the darkest area. All right. What do you think? I'm going to put a little bit just to darken these tips, make them a little bit different from this down here. You know, don't be afraid to add to your tile after you've add shaded if you need to. And remember, you don't have to do exactly what I've done. There are fragments listed on the Musterkel site. Okay. All right, I think I'm done. All right, again, this is Romanancy. Romanancy. And I will leave a link to that post in the comments. Okay, add your chop. sign and date the back. Add any other information if you want. For me, this is 7/7/24, and I am waiting on Tropical Storm Beryl, B-E-R-Y-L. Could even be a hurricane before it gets here, but I intend to be just fine. All right, thank you so much. I'm sorry that this kind of went fast in the beginning, but wanted to get this done before I lose the good light again. Let me know if you have any questions. Please leave comments. If you like it, please hit the like button, subscribe, share, and come back again. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.